there is still hope for you. There is still hope for you in spite of your struggles, heartaches, and troubles. No matter what you are going through, there is still hope for you. There is still hope for you in spite of your struggles, heartaches, and troubles. No matter what you are going through, there is still hope for you. There is still hope for you in sickness and sorrow. There's hope for tomorrow. God understands and he'll see you through. There is still hope for you. There is still hope for you in spite of your struggles, heartaches, and troubles. No matter what you are going through, there is still hope for you. There is still hope for you in seasons of sadness. Be strong, it won't last. God understands and he'll see you through.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome to There Is Still Hope for You. I am your host, Pastor Karen, and I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to be with me and my beautiful guests on this evening. Yes. Hope everyone is having a great week and you're comfortable and you're relaxed and you're going to hang out with us for about an hour, get your water, get your drink, get your popcorn, whatever you need, your dinner, and just chill with us for about an hour. Tonight's broadcast, we only anticipate being here about an hour, maybe a little, give or take a few minutes, but we have an awesome broadcast. As you all know, we do not do scripts. We follow the leading of the Holy Spirit. And since the Holy Spirit's in charge, we know it's going to be good. So shout out to everyone that's watching via Facebook Live. For those of you that are watching via YouTube, thank you so much for taking the time to be here, as well as those that will watch the replay. Hello to you, and thank you. As always, I'd like to ask you if you would share this broadcast. I always say never assume that no one in your news feed or your timeline won't be blessed by the message and what God has given us to share on this evening. So we have had with me this evening an amazing young lady, one who I call my cousin. We grew up as cousins, not blood, but family, if that makes sense. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. But I have with me Angela Crump Volcy. Did I pronounce that right? Okay, awesome. And she is an awesome young lady. Like I said, we grew up together. She is a motivational speaker. She is a certified life coach. She's just an all-around good person, and I'm excited. I'm really excited. We were able to reconnect. She moved out of the country for some years. And so we kind of lost contact, but I'm so glad that she's back in the States and we can communicate as we did when we were little girls. I mean, that's how far back we go. So thank you again to everyone. And I'm not going to take up any more time. I'm going to go ahead and turn the platform over to her. Angela, thank you so much for accepting the invitation. I am honored to have you with me on this evening. So I'm going to turn the broadcast over to you that you can share. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and just follow your heart.
Thank you, Karen. Hi, everyone. It's a real privilege and honor to be here with Karen. Just so you know, when she was little, she was as nice as she is now, right? Like the sister of my heart. So you're not getting someone who's not genuine through and through. And if you don't know, she's got a lot of gifts. I won't talk about all those because I'm not certain which one she highlights, but you have a fierce diva who is anointed and grounded. So that's not a plug that's just there. That's from the heart, right? She's good people. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'm assuming we're going to have a ebb and flow. So I don't want to just talk. I want it to be conversation between Karen and I and any questions that you all may have. So my name is Angela. I'm one of 7. I grew up a preacher's kid in Baltimore. And my entire, I guess, existence, I observed parents who served, gave. So that looked really good if you were on the outside. But if you were the daughter, I was a girl and I had 5 brothers and 1 sister who was the baby. I didn't always feel like stuff I wanted to do mattered. And it wasn't that they were trying to not pay attention. They were just out there, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized, helping the entire world. And I'm looking at it and saying, it's my 5th grade graduation. My parents are away in revival. So a little thought took root that said, you're not enough. And even though externally, if you knew me, I just retired because of COVID risk, but if you knew me, I've traveled the world. I've lived in England, Japan, Thailand. I speak a decent amount of languages. You see me in airports and with a driver more than you see me home in America. I looked successful, had all the trappings. But underneath, where it really counted, there was a part of me that didn't really feel like I was worthy, and I didn't know it. That's the part I didn't know it. And so during COVID shutdown, I had an opportunity to join different coaching programs. And one of the exercises took us back to like age 7. And that's when I remembered my parents were away from my graduation. I knew it, but the hurt was there covered over, right? And so with God's help and talking it through, I got, I think, really healed in that area where I now know I'm worthy. And the universe has plenty of room and money for me. So the audience that I speak to are people who are like me, busy career women who oftentimes have not made time to take care of themselves. If that's you, my main message is you matter. You're worthy. And the universe has plenty of room, money, friendships, relationships. You put in whatever words fit for you. That's who my heart really wants to talk to. And the reason why that's so, I guess, rooted in my spirit, I had 2 really good friends, one who looked like me. Now, just imagine yourself and you think you're gorgeous, right? We all do. She got sick and she went into hospice up the street from my house on a Friday. She was dead by that Tuesday at lunchtime. And I got the call. I was at Panera Bread on lunch. And it wasn't too far away. So I drove there real fast. And when I got there, she was still warm. And she was wearing pearl earrings I had given her from my time in Thailand. And I went over to her because she looked so good. Just imagine my face with my eyes shut. And you're like, she's asleep. And I lifted her arm and it just dropped. And then I went to her face and I did like this. And I couldn't feel any air coming back. In that minute is when it hit me, wow, on this side of glory, whatever she was trying to do or be, she's not going to have that chance. So my main message to everyone is, I love that song. There is still hope for you. if you're alive, if you're breathing, you have a chance. You have an opportunity to change, to make a difference, and to say it's possible,
Mhm.
or to say, hey, I can do it, or to reach out for help. So that would be probably the most important thing I would want to leave with anyone who's listening. You matter. It's possible. Live your life with no regrets. Because my friend Pat, we talked all the time, like Karen and I talk, right? And she would say, we're going to do this. And I say, okay, we're going to do this. I packed my suitcase and then work would pull her. And we never did it, right? And now
Mhm.
she's dead. And the part that really got me, okay, a lot of folks aren't blessed to have the money. She had a good federal job, a good federal job, good
Mhm.
government job, right?
Mhm.
And so she blessed her entire family. Most people, 5 people got like 200,000 and her
Mhm.
got 60%. So just do the math. They all got blessed.
Mhm.
Now, mind you, she was working all the time, making that money, but she never took time to spend it. So the secondary message would be, if you're at a certain level or you're a certain age and all you've been doing is working, 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 it's time to change the song from "She Works Hard for the Money" some other song, like, I don't know songs that well, but something like, you're enjoying the money, right?
Mhm.
And I'm going to start playing "There's the Hope for You." I love that beat. That was good, right?
Thank
So
you.
that's
Thank you.
my quick share. I'm a mom to 2 kids, age 18 and 21. I have a beautiful, lovely husband, and a lot of friends. So Karen, that's my, hopefully enough to tell people about me. Was that sufficient?
Oh, absolutely, girl. We just flow. We just
Okay.
look. We're gonna talk like we talk. We get on the phone and say, "Hey, this is gonna be a quick call. I just want a question," and we end up talking an hour. So that's what we're doing. We
Gotcha.
just
Gotcha.
flow. Absolutely. We just natural. That's why I don't do scripts or anything. I want my guests to feel comfortable. But beautiful, beautiful introduction. I didn't expect anything other than that, because that's who you are, that's your story, that's your life. And thank you again for your transparency and for sharing. This is the broadcast where we share our stories to encourage and to empower others. So you've done just that already within the first 10 minutes. So it's amazing. We're on a roll now. So thank you again. And you shared so much in your intro talking about being busy, and as you were sharing that portion of your story, I began to reflect back on your parents and my parents.
Oh yeah, both sets busy.
Entrepreneurship and ministry.
Yep,
You know what
yep,
I'm saying? That was our lives.
yeah,
We grew up not only as preachers' kids, but as business owner kids. So
yep.
we got like a double whammy of the busy parents.
You're right about that. You're right about that. Yep. So
Yes.
my parents had a restaurant called Micah's, for those who are from Baltimore, and it was a great opportunity for real good soul food. They were real proud that Congressman Elijah Cummings and the Congressional Black Caucus would come over.
Mm-hmm.
I saw with both, 4 o'clock in the morning, my dad was up, and maybe he got into bed around 9 or 10. That was a regular, right?
Mm-hmm.
Karen, your dad, best florist I've ever come across. I mean, nobody's like Uncle Bernard to this
Oh,
day, just the best,
yeah.
right? And Aunt Sylvia. So you're right about that. My
Mm-hmm.
mom in particular, for the women who are listening, right? Her story nurtures my heart and hurts my heart.
Mm-hmm.
She was like a Black Mother Teresa, and I don't say that lightly. If anyone knows her or knew her, they vouch for that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody died in whatever state, Mississippi, California, out the country. My mother would find a way to load up her Lincoln Town car with food. Because they had a restaurant, she had those commercial big pans, right? Collard greens, string beans, potato salad. You name traditional Southern cooking, my mom would cook the food, put it in the car, drive to whatever state it was, help them do a program, sometimes, if necessary, help facilitate the service, come back to the house, and then help with the repast. And she did that for years.
Mhm.
It sounds lovely unless you're the daughter and you see her driving like this. She was
Mhm.
shaking because she was so sleepy. She would shake herself like, you know, drive and shake and window down to stay awake because she
Mhm.
her body. And I believe that women of her generation, and maybe some today, did not get taught about boundaries, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
felt like whatsoever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. And she took all literal.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, she didn't save any, right? Whereas I believe that there's a reason that it says on the seventh day he rested.
Yeah. Yes.
I would above all things that you prosper and be in health, you know,
Mhm.
even as your soul prospers. So my mom died early. She had an aneurysm and it gutted us because she had a lot of living left to do. So
Mhm.
if you are a busy career woman, or if you're the type who is all about God's work, nothing wrong with either one of those. But I encourage you that the Bible doesn't say give everything, right?
Mhm.
In
Mhm.
my opinion, Jesus paid it all, so we don't have to.
Mhm. And you're right. You know, you're right. You're saying it in a humorous way, but you're absolutely correct. And actually, the Bible commands us to rest.
Mm,
And many of us, as you said, I can relate because there was a time in my life where I had no boundaries. I took after my dad. I was a workaholic. Everybody, like you said, that knows Austin the Harvest Flower Shop knows my dad was open 7 days a week.
yeah.
And for so many years, I missed my nieces and nephews, birthday parties, graduating up, all the family events, because I was always working.
Yeah.
And so I think even a lot of times we kind of pick up things from our parents.
Hmm.
You were saying their generation. But look, it was my generation too. And I've even seen it in my children, or at least one daughter. I used to always tell, I said, look, you have to slow down, take it from me. I learned. So it really is important to have those boundaries, because number one, we need to be balanced in order to live a productive life, to live a purpose driven life. And so when we allow ourselves to be stretched thin, something's going to lack. Like in your case, you're speaking of yourself as a daughter, you felt that you needed more. There were times, even with myself, well, of course, with my dad in the shop all the time. A lot of times, daddy couldn't be there. He would make sure we had flowers, he would make sure we had money and everything we needed, but his physical presence, he was not always available to actually be there. And I tell people often, I'm so grateful for the last 5 years of his life outside of Austin and Hargis
Hmm.
when he came to live with me. And during that time, I think I have like almost 500 pictures. I never had pictures of my dad, videos, pictures, and also that was precious to me. To me, that was a gift
Hmm.
to be able to have that time with my dad when he wasn't working. So, but I understand, the busyness. I used to tell my mother, Ma, I need you to just be my mother, not Pastor Coltrane, not Sister Sylvia. I need mommy.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yep.
so I totally get it. I can relate. And I'm sure that there are some of our listeners and our viewers that can relate as well. You talked about how, as a result of your parents being so busy in these leadership capacities, how it left you feeling that you weren't enough. If you don't mind, can you share with us a little bit about the impact that had on your life and how you were able to position yourself to be healed and began to realize that you are fearfully and wonderfully made and you are more than enough?
Absolutely. So the reason why I share that is it could be that there are people listening who are in the same boat.
Hmm.
Externally and to myself, my parents taught me you're the head, not the tail. Your father owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. We got all those scriptures.
Hmm.
But when you're getting the scriptures and your mom and dad aren't at your graduation, they're not at all the big events. They're
Hmm.
not home because they're helping in funerals, etc. Right? Uncle Bernard and mommy were probably the Bobbsey twins in terms of Uncle Bernard provided flowers, and then mommy was on some of the other stuff, depending on it, if they knew the same person. For me, I didn't discover that I had that issue, Karen, until I was 50. I'm 58 now. I was 57,
Mm-hmm.
57 last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So during the COVID shutdown, I was in a program with Kathy Heller, who I really adore.
Mm-hmm.
And when she had us do this exercise, you go back in your mind to earlier times, and she asked, what message is your 7-year-old self telling you?
Mm-hmm.
And that 7-year-old Angela said, have fun,
Mm-hmm.
rediscover joy. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, have fun, rediscover joy. That told me my 7-year-old self didn't think I was having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I wasn't feeling as much joy. So I started a journey of reflection. And there's a song by Miranda Lambert called The House That Built Me. I like country music, right? It's a good song.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathy played that song, and you see scenes on the screen of her going back to her childhood home. When that played, my brother David passed early. He, like my mom, was a helper in the ministry, right?
Mm-hmm. And in the restaurant.
And in the restaurant,
David ran the restaurant.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so for the first time, I found myself really tearing up, but it was sort of like happy tears, not like boohoo, but just sort of happy tears, because I was remembering my brother had a smile like me, and I was remembering Thanksgiving and my mom, my brother, all of us in there cooking. And what I got from that is it's not what's taught, it's what's caught. So
Mm-hmm.
even if we're teaching our kids, hey, have balance,
Mm-hmm.
if we're not in balance, they're learning from your actions more than your
Yes.
words. And so when I realized, boy, there's a hidden something that doesn't feel worthy, I started being a gardener and
Mm-hmm.
really trying to figure out, let's unearth it. Where is it? Why is it there? And so how it manifested itself, I always wanted to be a motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to encourage women in particular.
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't done it as just Angela. Like at work, I was always a spokesperson, but I was in my
Mm-hmm.
right. I was a big exec, and it was my job. But if you talk to me as Angela, not with titles, I would want to speak, but
Yes.
I didn't take a phone and start going live.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't volunteer to say I'll come on to something, or I didn't accept invitations. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how it showed that I didn't feel worthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really was. And so once I realized it, okay, I prayed, but I also started doing inner work to figure out how to get that to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know exactly what happened, but I know today I'm worthy. I'm sure about it, right?
Yes.
I know that abundance is my birthright. I
Mm-hmm.
also know that sometimes fear can try to slip back in. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just say to fear, hey, you can ride along, but you can't drive.
Mm. I like that.
But you can't direct my life, right? Because who wants to be 57 coming to the realization that fear and a feeling that you're not enough have really kind of held you in place, even though externally I look really successful. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think many people can say, I've lived in England, I've lived in Thailand,
Mm-hmm.
I've lived in Japan, I've flown all over the world, I've spoken to ambassadors, to governors. I've been blessed to have a really good career.
Mm-hmm.
If underneath I didn't feel like I was enough, then I don't believe I was really stepping into the full potential for what God has for my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I'm the only one. My guess, Karen, is that there are other people, if they slow down enough, because if you ask how did it manifest, it manifested in being an overachiever.
Mm-hmm.
I was running from poverty. I mean, running, right? I had on Nikes plus Adidas. I was like, I don't want to be poor. I want to have enough money.
Mm-hmm.
My running kept me at work 12 to 14 hours because how I felt validated was, oh, my jobs went well. My
Mm-hmm.
team performed. I got a big bonus, right? But I wasn't home. I wasn't seeing my kids at their events. So it wasn't in church, but my children were getting some of the same messaging
Mm-hmm.
with a different flavor. And
Exactly.
now I'm home and, I'm doing what I can to, for want of a better term, repair some of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it can manifest in almost being an overachiever, not necessarily underachiever, right? If you're always the one doing everything,
Mm-hmm.
solving everyone's problem, and
Mm-hmm.
always being the go-to spot,
Mm-hmm.
I encourage you to ask yourself underneath, is there anything that might not feel enough to just say nope
Yeah.
and let it be a full sentence?
I said that very thing on my broadcast on Tuesday. I said, no is a complete sentence. Angela, you tapped into so much. And I, I'm a piggyback off of what I said earlier in the broadcast, how many times we pick up those same habits. As you see, as you said, it's something that we catch, so we see our parents or our guardians or whomever that is a role model for us. We see them at that capacity where they're just overwhelmed life, they're go-getters and they don't have that balance. I can relate to what you're saying about being overextended in different capacities, because myself being in ministry, being a mom, being a single mom, so that meant I was a head of a household, being in a management role, having my own business. And I was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being in charge everywhere I go. Sometimes it got to the place where even different churches, I would go visit where people didn't know me, or I enjoyed being in a room with people that were unfamiliar with me. So I could just sit and absorb. Sometimes we need that. It's important.
Yeah.
So we deplete ourselves, our energy, and we aren't as effective because, as you say, we're chasing whatever, whether it's prestige, whether it's money, whether it's leadership abilities, whatever the case may be. And it's unhealthy and it's unwise. A lot of times, I know for myself, I was seeking validation in so many different places, from people, number one, people, and became a people pleaser, which of course that's a whole nother broadcast by itself. But you seek that validation because we have not taken, should I say, applied self-care.
Yeah.
And as a result, we feel unworthy. I suffer with low self-esteem, unappreciated, because I gave so much of myself. And many times we give to the wrong people or to the wrong areas. And so, we do tend to feel like, well, I don't matter. I'm not enough. Our self-esteem just becomes damaged as a result of us not having that balance and focusing on the wrong things. And it is a blessing. The quiet time for me caused me to shift, to really do a lot of self-assessment. It's like, okay, Karen, something has to change. Learn how to say no. My pastor, Apostle Dina Jobs, used to tell me all the time, Karen, you got to learn how to start saying no. I didn't know what no meant. I felt like, well, they need me, or I have to do it. Or, I didn't want people to be mad. So I didn't say no. And oh my goodness, there were so many times I was burnt out to the point that I couldn't think. I would cry, and when things would come to me and I would just say, Lord, I can't even think about how to do it because I was so overloaded. Like my father used to say, he called me Mother Hen. He used to say, Mother Hen, you just overloaded. And I was mentally exhausted, but I still did not know how to say no. And it's a blessing. It strengthens us when we know our boundaries and our limitations. When we set boundaries and know our limitations, it's like, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I'm unavailable, or I can't. Or we don't pick up the phone every time someone calls. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be for you. But saying no is extremely, extremely important.
And Karen, let me add something to what you said, because this was the topic in the program I'm in with Kathy Heller. So one end is the people pleaser. Describe that perfectly, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was codependent a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I knew how to say no because I grew up watching my mother do for everyone else. So I could say no.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted unconsciously to control the environment.
Mm.
My girlfriend said to me, Angela, it's hard for you to see a problem and not fix it.
Mm-hmm.
That was in the past, right? Both sides of the coin aren't healthy for, in my opinion, women.
Mm-hmm.
Men, I don't know their stuff as much, so I can't speak to them as much. But for women, if you're the type who can't say no because you want everyone to feel happy and to get along, that's not healthy.
Mm-mm.
If you're the type who is the rock of Gibraltar and you're doing for everyone before they ask, or you're making sure that the needs are met that you can anticipate at the expense of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that's another angle that is what was the term? Codependent.
Yes.
And both of them aren't so healthy. So if this is speaking to you from either angle, the encouragement from both of us is slow down.
Yes.
I think that COVID shut down. I mean, I don't like how it happened, but there was a blessing in the middle of all that torment, right?
For anyone that had the proper perspective, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. And so, Karen, you said earlier, sometimes you have to slow down. Some of us don't get the message. So I was home because of shutdown. I was high risk in a couple areas, including being overweight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was outside watering trees. Girl fell down the hill and broke my ankle.
Oh, that's
And
how you broke your ankle.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Listening to the Sunday service, multitasking, right? And so it took the broken ankle where literally I couldn't get off the bed, couldn't even go to the bathroom on my own. And that's pretty embarrassing. You got to get someone to come and help you to go back to the bathroom, right? And you're not that old where you need a, what's it called? Depends, right? So I said, Lord, if you're trying to get my attention, you don't have to break anything else. I'm listening.
When in reality, Angela broke it because of her busyness. Wow.
I blame it on the Lord.
Girl, you bolder than me because I would have been scared to do that. But I
No.
get where you're coming from. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I totally put it on him. I didn't want to own it. Might have been myself. I said, Lord, if you're trying to get my attention, you don't have to break anything else. Now you're right, Karen. It probably wasn't the Lord, but I gave it to him. And what I got from that was, if I had really listened to the quiet voice that was saying, slow down,
Mm-hmm.
if I had listened to the quiet voice that said, hey, this is a blessing. You
Mm-hmm.
haven't been home like this. Like my kids are like, you're here? Oh, hi. When are you going back to work? I mean, they just weren't used to it.
Right,
Um,
right.
I don't believe that the broken ankle would have been necessary, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it took all that for me to slow down enough to then be in a posture, Karen, that you
Mm-hmm.
were saying what helped you to realize it, right? I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
thank God for it now, because who wants to go to their grave however many years later if I had stayed the way I was?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm right before, I shut my eyes for the last time. I don't want that to be the minute I'm saying, "Ooh, I got regret." At
Right.
58, I feel like I'm young enough to course correct.
Exactly.
I'm young enough, hopefully, to relate to some of the young people, not
Mm-hmm.
all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for people who are my generation, hopefully to be an example that there's still time, right? That's why I
Mm-hmm.
loved your song, "There's Still Hope for You." Oh,
Oh,
that's just
wow. Thank you.
oh,
One of the young men that is affiliated with our ministry, actually, he has a music school, and he's been a guest on my show a couple of times, Pastor Michael Jones, and I had him write that song. I said, I want
beautiful,
my own personal theme song. And
beautiful,
he said, Pastor Karen, I got you. I'm a copywriting and everything. So
beautiful,
he's
beautiful.
excellent. Thank you so much. I get a lot of compliments on that, and I always try to let him know. And of course, he's in the credits at the end.
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's jazzy. It speaks to you. It inspires. And anybody who doesn't feel inspired, go see your therapist, because you're repressing emotion.
Oh, yes, honey. Look, I'm jotting this down because it's a couple of things I want to us to elaborate on that you've spoken of. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out, first of all, to everyone who has taken the time to be with us on this evening. Again, for anyone who is watching the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. For everyone that has shared the broadcast, everyone on Facebook, everyone on YouTube, I love you. There would be no there is still hope for you without you. But I want to give a shout out to Melissa Stewart. Thank you, Melissa. It's good to see you. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Debbie Davis. Hi, Debbie. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. Lucille Owens, thank you so much for being here. And I'm unable to see everyone that's watching. If you leave a comment or if we are actually Facebook friends, I can see your name. But even those of you that are watching via the There Is Still Hope for You Facebook page, please know that I appreciate you. For all of Angela's followers that may be viewing us as we're broadcasting live, as well as those of you that may view as a replay watcher, thank you so much for being here. I get excited. We like hearts. We like comments. We like feedback. It gives us a different energy when we know that, we're speaking and someone can relate or someone is being blessed by what we're sharing. But you're okay. Hey, Debbie. Debbie said you're welcome. But we appreciate you all so much for being here. And for those of you that were not here in the beginning of the broadcast, I am Pastor Karen, your host. I am also the founder and the CEO of Empowerment Reset and Transformation Academy, and that's at www.karenmaustin.com. That's an online coaching and mentoring community for spiritual, professional, as well as personal growth and development. Angela mentioned something about a therapist and a mentor. Mentorship is good. Back in the day when we were coming up, you talk about a mentor, I'm going to get a counselor. People would say, oh, you crazy? You're going to see a shrink. You remember, Angela? Mm-hmm. But now I encourage it because many times we have to unpack. There's so much that we're dealing with. Like Angela shared about her childhood. I shared some things about my childhood. Doesn't necessarily mean that we had bad parents. I know I had good parents.
Me too.
But many times we're limited in our beliefs. We do what we know. And that doesn't mean that that's the fullest capacity of our ability to learn or to parent or to teach or whatever the case may be. But I feel in today's society it's important to have someone that you can share with, you can unpack with, someone that can help you through the process of transitioning from your limited belief system or feeling like you're not enough. It's not meant for us to go through those things alone. Angela is a very, very beautiful, very knowledgeable and excellent coach. And I don't have a problem with promoting other people because what God has for me is for me. What he has for Angela is for her, and it's enough for all of us. But I know she's really good. And I wish you would have been coaching when I was that busy woman running all over. Because, honey, let me tell you now, today, I will say no. I take my days where I say I'm not doing nothing. Then I have a day where I say, you know what? This is a me day. I'm going to go out. I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I have days I don't answer my phone. I learned how to put my phone on do not disturb at 8 o'clock, especially my business phone. And I often tell my children, I said, boy, if mommy and daddy was here to see this now, they probably say, who is that person? But it took me being sick and tired of being burnt out. It took me being tired of doing for everyone else except for Karen. It took me for living my life for everyone else except for me. You have to say, wait a minute. I'm getting closer to the golden age. I'm getting too old for this. I've wasted so much time and so many of my years investing in everyone but Karen. And we both know, and the audience know, that we're not saying it's not important to invest in others, but those boundaries are so important. They are crucial They are crucial to your well-being. They are crucial to your effectiveness in life. They are crucial to your destiny. And we have to be determined. I would encourage others, as Angela has said, take time for you, invest in you, do some self-assessment and say, what can I let go of? You know, many times we give so much of our time and ourselves, and then we get frustrated. Yeah, I used to be so anxious, like, now I don't have time to do this, or I spent all of my time on it. Learn how to say no.
And Karen, I think I love what you said there. I don't enjoy coaching one-on-one. I'm certified to do that, but I found it wasn't fun for me, right? I like group. Here's why. A lot of times when we look in the mirror at ourselves, unless you start to get enlightened, you don't even know that you're burned out. You don't even know you're about to go off the cliff. So for anyone listening, if you're always kind of feeling frustrated, resentful, you're forgetful, you're the last one in the office all the time, you're working every Saturday and some Sundays, you haven't been to any of your kids' stuff, you represent someone who is either near burnout or on her way to burnout. And we hope that this notice of, hey, that road kind of can dead end is going to help you. If you want one-on-one, Karen's your person, right? Because I don't have the energy for it. I believe that energy is probably one of the most important things that we own, but sometimes we can devalue that. And I think that there's an energy level where you're in abundance thinking, and then there's one where in scarcity thinking, and where, for want of a better term, we don't value ourselves enough to say, you're going to protect the temple, the vessel, right? I like to say, give from your overflow and not from your core.
That's right. Absolutely.
So if you're exhausted, if you're shaking when you drive, I'm telling you, you're on your way to the same situation as my mom. She died way too soon. Your boundaries, put them out further and protect your core more. And if you need help, find someone who you can relate to and start having that conversation, particularly, I think, in the Black community, and maybe for women of, 50 and older. I don't know about 40. All I saw were role models where you worked harder than everyone else, role models where you were like Superwoman. You were excellent at work, supposedly excellent at home, maybe thinking you were excellent with friendships, but if we're really honest, something suffered.
Yeah, exactly. There's some lacks.
Something suffered. So I just wanted to say amen to what Karen said. And, therapy, conversation, and community, we've known that all of our lives. Now I know the 5 people who you hang around, that's who you're more than likely going to become like. So do a check of your circle. If everyone is sitting there complaining, get some new friendships.
Oh, girl. Yes. Yes, that negative energy is just too much for me. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'll change the conversation or hang up, one or the other.
Yeah. I'm giving them a little gentle check. I'm like, you're retired like I am. Why are you telling me about everything that's happening in the office that neither one of us is in anymore? And then it's total silence, right? And I find a nice way to hopefully point it out to them, and then I get off the phone. So, Karen, I guess I'd ask you, when you were in Burnoutville, describe how that was so that people who might not know that they're there can recognize themselves.
Wow. When I was burnt out, I was so miserable. I mean, I was just used to just going, doing. I was busy. And my mom used to always tell me, Karen, your schedule is too full. Well, Mom, you don't understand. At one point, I was in school full time. I was raising my 4th child. He was the only one at home. He was in middle school. I had a business, and I was in the shop and in ministry, and I was in grad school. So yes.
Wow. That sounds like 6 different big things. Exactly.
I had no time for me. And I got to the place where I couldn't think. I often say I was functioning, but I was dysfunctional. You know how you just get used to flowing with the motion? It just became a routine for me. I would go to work and I would leave work. And then I had my son in private school, which was all the way on the other side of town.
Mm.
And I remember sometimes I would be taking him to school and I would be so sleepy. I literally would have to pull over on the side of the road and say, wait a minute, let me just sit here and close my eyes for 10 minutes.
Mm. Mm.
There were times where I would be driving, and you know how you drive and you're just not focused. Well, maybe people don't know, but I'm telling you, this is what I would, and I would say, where am I going? What am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I began to really think about the danger that my lifestyle was putting myself in and those that were connected to me.
Mm-hmm.
I began to think about how I was not really effective or helpful to anyone I was connected with. And the thing is, most of it was for everyone else except for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow, my life is really passing me by. I can't think, I can't remember. I put something down and it's like, where did I put it? Where did it? Couldn't find it and had to buy stuff over and over again. Then I end up with 20 of the same thing. And so I just really had to, when you mentioned about you breaking your ankle, I had pneumonia. It was Legionnaire's disease. That was back in 2017. I had never heard of it. And when they told me what it was, the doctor said it came from inhaling water. I'm like, what? How in the world do you inhale water? And they said it could come from like the sprinkler, like if you're in the produce department in the grocery store, if you've been to a water park. The bottom line, I was flat on my back, period. I couldn't do much of anything. That was the time that God really began to deal with me and started downloading stuff. And I began to really examine my life. And it's like, Karen, and that was back in 2017. So I was in my 50s or right around 50. And I was like, this is crazy. Your whole life, you just giving, and there aren't any benefits of it. You don't see any benefits other than me being tired, me crying. If something else came up, or let's say like if I had a project I needed, and then I was a project manager. So, with the stress along with that. And I was like, I can't even begin to think. I couldn't process information, and I, like you, people would look at me, they wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? Because I was masquerading. I was walking around with a mask, not even realizing that, Karen, your life is out of order. You need to make some changes. And so I started, it was a process. My pastor, again, Apostle Dina Jobs, she was really talking to me, and she was like, you really have to take time out for you. She really, really sold into me. She invested so much time and so many nuggets. It's important. Take time for you. Stop rushing. Stop, doing so much. And she was able to really get to me. And then when I was flat on my back, because I would get out of breath just from coming to the bedroom to the living room. And because, pneumonia, how that is. And so I was able to be still, and I really started praying, and I said, Lord, please help me. Please help me. So I started slowing down, and I started realizing that overextending yourself, we do it because we can. We do it because we know how. I had a family member, my uncle, who is now deceased. You remember Uncle Rudy? Yeah. And he, at one time, Debbie came to me and she said, my father told me, she asked her father something. He said, go to Karen because she know everything. Well, it seems like that's how it was with everyone. Because I guess I appear to be so resourceful. And I said, no, this is wearing me out. I'm tired of building people's businesses. I'm tired of doing all of this stuff. And what is it doing to me? It's killing me. And I had to really, really come to the realization, Karen, you're killing yourself.
And I think, Karen, that was a beautiful description for people who might not recognize that that's you, right? If
Right.
you can see or listen or hear yourself in what Karen said, you're near burnout or at burnout. I was a workaholic.
Mm-hmm.
I said no to certain things because of growing up with my mother. So I was maybe in a different spot, but either angle isn't so good. I have a friend, her name is Brenda. She has a coaching program called Women at the Pause. She's in Canada. We met in Kathy Heller's program.
Mm-hmm.
She said that when we're in our 50s, we're in I think she called it the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, this is one of the best seasons of your life because you're mature enough to know what you like and you're youthful enough to be able to implement it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that really inspired me.
Mm-hmm.
And, if there are women listening who are 40, 50, 60, you're, in my opinion, in that zone where, hey, you still got a couple acts and you left.
Mm-hmm.
When my dad was admitted to the assisted living facility, that's my first time going someplace with a whole bunch of really old people
Mm-hmm.
who were sitting in wheelchairs. It was depressing, if I'm being honest, right? Because you see all these bright faces, their eyes are still there, their brain is still there, but their mobility has been impacted.
Yes.
And it was just, I walked down the hall and they line up the wheelchairs. If you've never been, you don't want to go there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I wonder what they didn't do. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder what they neglected. And now
Right.
they're wishing that they could, right? And there was one gentleman, he would sit near the piano. The piano was one of those playing pianos, right? And he would just sit there bebopping in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wonder, was he a musician? I wonder, was he a dancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of that to say, you're hearing Karen's story, you're hearing my story.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you have your own story, but
Mm-hmm.
there's still hope, right? There's still
Right.
hope.
That's
And
right.
we're hoping that you hear something, a nugget or two that grabs your attention enough to say, slow down,
Mm-hmm.
look and assess, right? Don't stay on a road that's either going to put you flat on your back with pneumonia or flat on your back with a broken ankle or
Right.
whatever is the description, right? Don't
Mm-hmm.
go where we went, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Coming back from beyond.
Yes, yes. And Angela, it's a blessing that we were able to recover.
Amen.
Some people never recover from those things. The nervous breakdowns. I know it's only by the grace of God that I didn't have a nervous breakdown.
Amen.
Some people end up in a deeper state of depression where they're medicated. They have to go to institutes. You know what I'm saying? Some people are on medication for their mental state.
Yeah.
So we are blessed. And that's why when God healed and delivered me, not just from the busyness, but just from many things, I said, you know what, God, I'm going to be your mouthpiece. I'm going to share because I have compassion for others, young people and women in particular. Not saying that no one else matters, but that's my story. So that's who I can relate to more and tell you it's not worth it. It's not worth doing everything for everybody. It's not worth neglecting yourself. You are valuable. You are precious. You are important. There is a purpose for your life. You have a destiny. So I often say that we allow people, places, and things to rob us of our destiny because we fail to invest in us. We have to look at ourselves as if I don't invest in me, I'm no good to no one else. If I don't invest in me, I can't share my story and be transparent with others to help and to encourage them. So it's extremely important, especially, like Angela said, for women, we raise kids and we everybody's auntie, and we never get enough of giving. You cooking for everybody, you buying for everybody, and the list goes on and on and on and on. As Angela said, she observed her mother. I watched my mother and my father. My father stayed at that shop till he couldn't stay no more. And then when he came to live with me, he was still trying to find places to go. And I was like, Daddy, enjoy. And my father, like, take me down Bonaparte. Because that was his life. That's what he knew. But I tell you, this is we've tapped into a lot of good things about the importance self-care. Self-care. I'm telling you, I had to learn it and I'm still learning. I'm still not there. I'm better than I was, but I still have a ways to go. And
Can I
it's
give a tip there?
oh, absolutely.
So when I do the group coaching, I got this from Natalie Krogan. She has a show called Happier Now or something like that, Wednesdays, 12 o'clock free, right?
Mm-hmm.
She says, do a quick 2-minute scan of yourself physically, socially, emotionally, and spiritually, right?
Uh-huh.
Literally just breathe in and just a quick, how am I doing physically? Get in touch with your
Mm.
body. Is there anything that's tight? Like, my shoulders, I could just relax them a little bit.
That's
How
good.
am I feeling, right? If you can breathe in and breathe out, like I breathe in on the count of 5, I hold it for 5, I breathe out for 5. I got
Mm-hmm.
that from a guy who does WildFit. He says, if you breathe out like that, your body says, oh, I'm not too stressed. I can relax. So do the physical, the mental.
Mm-hmm.
Is my brain centered? Are my thoughts racing, right? Just do a quick scan of yourself to see, am I okay? For the spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
Karen's probably better at that than I am, right? She's deeper in the Lord. Have
Girl.
you spent some time going by the river, whatever it is that gets you centered, right? And then on the emotional side, when's the last time you called a good friend? When's the last time you laughed? When's the last time you just had a belly laugh that made your eyes tear, or listened to a song and just cut the floor, because it was so good? If the answers to any of those 4 categories basically is a negative, as in I don't remember when, then you got some work to do in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the biggest blessing I've gotten from slowing down is rediscovering joy.
Mm.
It is such a thing when you have it in your spirit and in your belly, and you're just happy and joyful. I was never what you call sad, but I was too busy to really allow time for
Appreciate it. Yeah.
emotion to really be present. So,
Right.
now I have a lot more joy, but I didn't get there until I slowed down enough and used those 4. So I just wanted to offer that as a quick technique. I recommend doing it once a day. It only takes 2 minutes. And then it gets you a little bit better in touch with whether or not something is really out of whack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're like, oh my God, something's really out of whack, I promise you, if you ignore it, it's going to show up differently, and you
Yeah.
probably won't like the way it's going to talk to you. Karen said it's not the Lord. I was blaming him for it, but
Girl, look. Now we'll anyway. We'll talk about that offline. That's going to take us over the time that we have allotted for this broadcast. But you've made some. You've given some very, very good nuggets, extremely good nuggets, and it's a blessing how God uses us in different capacities. We may have similar experiences, different resources, but and he gives us different perspectives. So I really thank you for sharing. We know that you have a session, and so we're not going to do the full 2 hours today, but I would like to begin to bring it in, and I want to ask you if you would share a little bit about your practice, what you do. You broadcast about taking time out for you, on your Facebook page. And then if you could tell us about your website and what services you provide that someone could benefit from that's listening either now or replay watchers.
Sure. So I have a podcast for busy, stressed career women called Be Wonderful You, right? And my little nuggets are 2 to 3 minutes. I thought about women who never take time to go to the bathroom. And usually, if you can keep your phone with you, and if you have the new type of, iPhone things, 2 to 3 minutes, you're in the bathroom washing your hands. Hopefully, you can get a podcast in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're in the car going to another meeting. So all of my nuggets are 2 to 3 minutes. And the audience, busy, stressed career women. I have a website, AngelaCrumpVolcy.com. That lists some of the things that I have. And my email is AngelaCrumpVolcy@gmail.com. I like coaching in a group setting for busy, stressed career women. I've done 2 different cohorts, and we get wonderful results. It's not me, it's the women, right?
Mhm.
I see transformation that makes me really happy. And then I'm an ambassador in Kathy Heller's program where she has 800 and something women and a couple men. And so I help out there. And then I'm in programs where I'm learning and being coached myself. So that's a short summary of the stuff that I care about. I also love motivational speaking.
Mhm.
And for those who were on for the whole time, I'm proud of that because I just started talking and speaking as myself when I was 57. I'm
Mhm.
58, right? So
Mhm.
that's new and it's helping people. So that would be highlights.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, how can people reach you on your social media platforms?
Oh, thanks. On social media, so I'm also learning technology. Karen's really good at it, right?
That's what you
My,
think,
my
honey. Look, talking about being overworked. After a while, your brain goes like, duh. Sometimes I have to go to my kids and say, how do you do this? And I went to IT school. It's like, look, I don't feel like figuring this out. I find that I get a little impatient. If I can't figure it out right away, it's like, forget it.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you, I buy my kids, I'm like, you want to go to Panera Bread? You
Uh-huh.
want wings and French fries? Show me how to do this.
Girl, you be bribing them. I know, right? I try that, but
Incentivize, incentivize.
my Marquise will say, look, that doesn't mean I have to do X, Y, and Z, so it doesn't work over
Yeah.
here for me
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Well, I don't do it all the time, but if I'm really desperate, that might help them. So my Facebook is Angela Crump Volcy, no hyphen in the middle, because I had the other one. I could remember the password. And then I'm on IG, Instagram. That one I'm at Angela Crump Volcy. I kept mine real simple because if you know how to spell my name, you'll see me. And then I'm on LinkedIn as Angela Crump Volcy. So it's pretty consistent, right? And I would say Facebook, IG, my webpage, it's there, but someone told me today, hey, I tried to reach you. And she said she couldn't. So I've reached out to my, what's it called, the developer to say, hey, what's going on? I didn't create the web page. I like it, but
Okay.
I don't know. I know how to look at it, but I don't know how to go behind it. Just being
Okay.
honest. Okay. So it's there. It tells about the different programs. The one I look at all the time is Facebook, IG. I look at LinkedIn and I look at my email, and good old fashioned phone works as well. If you really know Karen, you can call her and she'll give you my number if you need that.
Okay. All right.
That
Awesome.
here?
Awesome. Yes. Yes. Wow. This has really been a blessing. I promised you, I said, I'm going to wrap it up. It's around
Karen?
7 o'clock.
So Karen, I'll say this: if there's something that you want to talk about, I've got something at 8. So I'm not saying we go much longer, but if there's something you want to address,
Mhm.
don't feel that you can't put the time into it. Like if there's another 5 or 10, I'm okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's one other thing that I would like to tap into. We talked about fear.
Mm,
I am a witness that fear has paralyzed me and caused me to miss out on so many opportunities. We
mm,
fear the unknown. We fear going to another level. And each level, as we grow, every level, there is another level of fear that's presented with that because it's something new, it's something unknown. And for me, as I say often, I apply biblical principles. So my faith, I want to say, is strong, but yet each time I'm elevated or I have a new assignment or I reach a new level in life, in ministry, in my profession, in my business, there's always this shift, this question, a little doubt. What if? What if? What if this doesn't work? What if I don't do this right? What if I don't speak properly? What if I'm not received? There's always something to present itself in the form of fear. What would you say this evening to encourage our viewers and the replay watchers as to how to overcome that fear and to obtain courage to move past where you are in life?
That's an awesome question and something that I talk about in my coaching program. So this book, it's by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic: Creative Living Beyond Fear. On page 24, I don't know if people can get it on Audible or just go to the bookstore and then go to page 24. It talks about a road trip. And it says that fear and creativity are basically co-joined twins, right? If you kill off fear, you can kill off creativity. The secret is let creativity get in the front seat of the car and tell fear get in the back seat. Tell fear you can't even touch the radio dial. And then you and creativity map out a pathway. Kathy Heller says, and there's research behind this, that one of the most exciting things that we can bring to a project is enthusiasm. Fear has its task. Its task is to try to get into your head and have you pause and get paralyzed. I was paralyzed in terms of public speaking for a long time. I did it at work and I was good at it, but not just as Angela, right? And so what I learned is to take 20 seconds of courage and do a baby step. And for the perfectionists who are listening, and that's a lot of women, you just have to tell yourself, I'm going to be a C student. This is Kathy Heller who taught me that. I'm going to be a C student. I'm going to do it messy. And you just take the first step. On my Facebook page, I said yesterday and a couple times, the first time I went live, I really had a trash can there because I thought I was going to upchuck, right? And I had the trash can right beside me as like my security blanket, and I pressed the right button and I started talking, and I felt pretty nauseous.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so my success was I didn't upchuck. And that was the first time. And so that was me telling fear, get in the back seat. 95% of our brain is wired to keep us the same place that we've always been because the brain thinks that that's safe. There's 5% that might say, I'm willing to explore and do some other things. And so it's important that we encourage and nurture that 5% and reassure that 95%, hey, this is okay for me to try, right? And so I don't let the fear control me. I'm aware that it's there. I try to do things like listen to podcasts, reading books, being around good people, praying to make sure that fear doesn't grip me again. It had me for a while. And fear dresses up in high heels. That's perfectionism, right? So you're like, oh, girl, I got it going on. Everything is perfect. Okay. Underneath, if you pull it back, you're probably scared to death, right? You're hiding it in perfection makeup, perfection, perfect, everything matching, right? Like I never would have been natural with my hair. Everything had to be, in my opinion, just so perfectly in place. Because I'm telling you, I had to give the impression like it has it going on. Now I'm like, what you see is what you get. Right?
I'm laughing because as you were saying that, I can see us right now on Pembridge in that middle room in front of that mirror. Girl, we spent hours in front of the mirror trying on lip gloss, trying to, how does this look? How does it, girl? So I know about everything, trying to be just right. I know.
Yeah.
Put that together.
Underneath, it could very well be fear. So that's something that I have found that has really helped. I also believe in taking a piece of paper. I keep little journals, right? And I'll just write, if I'm thinking about something, I'll write into this journal just to say, hey, what do I love? Where are my passions? To kind of tap into the creativity side, into the enthusiasm side. And then for the fear, sometimes you invite it to the table and you write what it's telling you. And then you know it's a lie because if you say, what's the opposite of that? It'll help you to be able to identify that's not really true, right? Like I used to tell myself, this was a lie. I used to say, when I lose weight, I'll become a motivational speaker. Well, you know what? I wasn't losing weight at the rate. So I was like, I haven't lost the weight yet. The truth is my weight had nothing to do with the ability to open my mouth and talk. I was just scared, right? Or, oh yeah, when I learn more about technology, I'll get a Facebook account. It was fear, right? And so identifying it, becoming comfortable with it,
Mhm.
having discussions and being around people who I think encourage and nurture us that everyone has fear,
Mhm.
present, right? We just don't let fear drive. We don't
That's
let
right.
fear take the leadership role because all that does is push you into regret land
Mhm.
where at the end of your life, you're sitting there wishing that you had done some things.
Mhm.
It's too late. Does that help?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Angela. This has been an honor to have you and to share your knowledge and your wisdom,
Thank you,
your
Karen.
beautiful spirit, your beautiful smile.
Thank you. Thank you.
Always it's such a gorgeous smile.
Showing
Wow.
all 32.
I'm so glad that we have reconnected. I mean, and it's some people that although they're distant and you don't hear from them, that you still have that bond. It's like there was a couple of times that you came back to the States and I saw you, and although I think we were at the hospital or different things, but still, it was just as if we had never parted. So
Yeah.
I thank God for you. I thank God for the reconnection and for you sharing with us this evening and for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. Before we close, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
I would say to you for this broadcast, I admire the fact that you're following something that helps a lot of people. That's to me very, very admirable.
Thank
And
you.
then you're welcome. The other person who helped me was Kathy Heller's program, right? She has a free podcast called Don't Keep Your Day Job, and really good nuggets there that have been helpful. A lot of us who grew up in church, we're taught how to pray. Everyone, I think, knows how to say, "Oh, God, help me." That's important.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the only tool to help us grow and become our best self. I believe that everything that God made is good,
Mm-hmm.
including books, including
Yes.
opportunities and resources. And
Yes.
so, for those who grew up really, really in church, because I was in church so much, I couldn't even get sin in if I wanted to, right? I just wasn't given the opportunity. And I was like, I wish I could go to something, but my parents kept me in church Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday, Saturday, all day, Sunday. Okay, not too many chances to do that much,
Well,
right?
I guess I was the bad one of the bunch because I was in the church all the time, but I found a way to get sin in. We grew up a lot of life. When you told me that, I was like, what? How you end up to be a Miss Goody Two Shoes? But
And
anyway, I was just
Karen,
curious.
I
I just
think
did
it
what I
was the
wanted to
perfection,
do.
right?
Uh,
Because I think it was perfection even then, right? Like I like to tell on people when I was growing up. If I
oh
see
Lord, I don't remember that part.
my brothers, yeah, like they would sneak out of the window of the second floor and slide down the
Sequoia.
banister to go swimming. I would tell, right? I say, Mommy, Mark did such and such,
Oh
right?
my goodness!
Yeah. So
Wow.
I was the goody two shoe. And then, I'm not saying that was right, but I felt like I got a little reward. Like, thank you. They should have said, they should
Girl,
have
you are
said,
so funny.
stop
Oh my
telling on your brother.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. Well, again, I want to thank you. This has been an honor. As I said, I would like to have you on my Tuesday broadcast, and I would like to welcome you to come back in the future here because as we grow, we always have more to say. And I'm very, very grateful for this connection. I'm in the process of doing some things with my website, and I would like to, as we discussed on yesterday, even provide a link to your practice on my website because women need someone, just to focus on the busyness that within itself is huge because we have to slow down in order to be coachable, in order to be teachable. So that's a excellent place to start. And I like the fact that that's your primary focus as it relates to women. I love you. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Karen.
much. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who has taken the time to view. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for your comments. We didn't have very many comments tonight. Some nights I can have 50 of them, and tonight it appears as though we just had one. And when I don't get that many, it's like, okay, is everything working right on across my platforms? You know what I'm saying? To everyone on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. We love you. Next week, on the 12th, actually, Angela's niece is scheduled to be here.
Wow.
Yes. Oh my goodness. She is a beautiful, beautiful Amber, a
Oh,
beautiful young lady,
I
very
love her.
successful, bubbly spirit,
She's
very intense. She has like this energy. You all don't want to miss it. She's
Yeah.
a real estate agent.
She's awesome.
Yes. Actually, she's in Puerto Rico right now.
Her flight got canceled. I'm like, pray for her
I
to get
saw
back.
that. She said she was stuck, and I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that. So I'm looking forward to that. So please plan to tune in on next Thursday at 6:00 p.m. Thank you to everyone. Good night. I love you all. There is still hope for you. Would not be here without you. And remember, no matter what you're going through, there is still hope for you. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. Good night, Angela.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.